All right, good afternoon. My name's Tom Harner. We're in Sedalia, Missouri. I'm a beekeeper, and this video is going to talk about how to catch a swarm of bees. So I'm going to show you here is what my wife pointed out to me this afternoon and made me come home from work, is a swarm of honeybees. There's a good chance that these bees are from one of my beehives right over there. So we're going to attempt to catch them. Now, if you ever see one of these swarms and you're not a beekeeper, it's a good idea to call a beekeeper, because that swarm is very valuable. That swarm for beekeepers costs anywhere from like $150 to $200. Also, it's a good chance they're domesticated bees, which means they're likely not going to survive in the wild. So what we got here is a wet vac, and this wet vac we picked up from Home Depot a while back. I initially bought this to sweep out my cars. We've made some modifications to it. The first part is for a filter, I just wrapped some paper towels around there. It'll keep the bees from getting inside of there. And for the bottom, as you see, we cleaned it out pretty well. There's not a lot of dust or anything, and I put a paper towel on the bottom. What that does is when I dump the bees, that'll help the bees just fall right out. Also, this inlet device here I kind of cut out, so instead of the bees getting whacked right into the side of that, what will happen is they'll just get sucked right in and maybe just fall against those paper towel on the filter, not get beat up quite as bad. So that's the shop vac, just very simple modifications to that. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So another thing you'll notice, I'm going to attempt to do this. I don't have my veil. It's in the garage. Sometimes I'll put those on, but usually this method is so clean you don't usually even need a veil. Usually when the bees are swarming, they're actually not very aggressive. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I start from the bottom and work my way up. Now the goal in this is to catch at least a majority of the bees, and the queen is hidden in here somewhere. What's really important is that we are able to capture her in the wet vac. If we capture her, eventually all the rest of the bees will follow. We get nailed once by a bee. There's a stinger. I keep going here. Another common method to catching bees is to just get the bee swarm over a hive and just whack them or cause a large vibration that gets them to fall into the hive. That method also works well. The only issue with that sometimes it's hard to do depending on what type of vegetation they landed in. This one here would have been really challenging. can see, we've got probably a good 90% of the bees. There's a few flying around here kind of upset. But we got about 90% of the bees. This is a really good chance that we captured the queen. While you're doing this, definitely want to be on the lookout for the queen. So if you get the queen and you get her to settle into a box, then you'll know the rest of the bees will eventually find her in the box.